Hello again, everybody. Max Scoville here for IGN. I am live at E3. I'm with Alex and Rex from Media Molecule, and you guys are showing off Tearaway Unfolded. This is the PS4 version of Tearaway, the incredibly adorable, lovely Vita game.
Thank
is
you.
that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean it's a reimagining of Tearaway. We wondered whether we'd be able to port the game across. When we brought the Vita version to events like E3, we saw it up on the big screen. We were like, this actually could work, you know, as a big screen experience. But as soon as we started working with the gameplay, we were like, well, this isn't going to work at all. None of these very handheld features work when we bring it to a home console. So we went completely back to back to the drawing board, or the cutting mat, and started again from scratch to create the entire game, all based around the DualShock 4 and all of the new stuff that's on there.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I mean, the big question here is like so much of Tearaway was just really it depended on the Vita's features. Like you've got two touch surfaces and you've got two cameras and you've got all kinds of stuff going on, and it's a little bit different with a controller. But like clearly you're using the touchpad to do some stuff. What else? Like what other features have come over? Like.
I mean, I think you probably saw just then how Alex was using the touchpad to draw shapes out, and then using the light to guide them and move them around, using him a little bit like a pointer. One of the things that I think works really well in this version is using wind. We wanted a way of being able to bring a sort of give the player a huge influence on the environment. And if the environment's all made of paper, it's very fragile. So it would make sense that you could have a very dramatic effect on it if you sent a gust of wind into the scene. So we use the touchpad to let you swipe and see how, as you do it, which we'll see in a second, how it makes all the paper unfold and change. And so we just literally roll out the red carpet here. And the different directions that you swipe, it's actually changing all the scenery. We're twirling some characters around there. You can obviously it's kind of like visually pleasing to do that, but also it's there for all the platforming gameplay that you would expect as well.
Oh, look at that! Now, I mean, like the Tearaway on Vita was like it was very much like a proper Vita game. It was you guys were really playing with the tools you were kind of given for that. Was this always kind of part of the plan, or was this kind of like did you decide to revisit Tearaway just on PS4?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we did wonder, could we? We basically we didn't know. When we started, we were like, is this going to go anywhere? We got the engine across onto the PS4. It's looking really nice, but we really didn't know whether we were going to be able to come up with interesting stuff to use the hardware itself. And I think we would have struggled if we'd been on PS3 with a more traditional controller. Mm-hmm. We just felt that there's just so many sort of odd little quirks in the DualShock 4 which we could exploit. Things that just make it feel almost like part of the controller is part of the world that's come out of the TV and you're just holding a bit of it. So a simple thing like just the pad speaker felt like it was a really interesting thing to start playing with, and maybe having characters speaking to you out of the controller.
Okay. So like on Vita, there was a lot of stuff that involved the camera. How do you kind of accommodate for that not being a function?
Well, if you've got the PlayStation camera, then we've got the same functionality. You'll see your face in the sun. All of those sort of weird fourth wall breaking elements to the story are all there. But if you don't, what we've got as an alternative is we're using we have a companion app. So if you pull out your tablet, pull out your phone, the app will turn it into a kind of creative tool so that you can add your own photos and things into the world. You've got like a cutting mat on there so that you can do all of the cutting and making and customizing. It's all very context sensitive as well, so depending on what player 1 is currently doing inside of the game, player 2 or 3 or 4 can all be like maybe customizing the main character, or maybe changing the squirrel, or changing the background.
Do you have any sharing stuff that's, can you share creations?
Yeah, so something that was very popular on the Vita version was the little in-game camera. So you take your own photos, share them online. We've got the same process for PS4. You can share everything out, not just with the share button on the controller, but also put it up online on the Tearaway.me website. Let other players see what you've been making. We've expanded the camera out so that it's not just a stills camera anymore. You can actually take animated GIFs. It's like, the internet is just full of cats doing stuff.
Yep.
So, we're trying to bring in a few squirrels, a few crows.
I love it, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
You guys are kind of known for just making games that really just encourage creativity, and like, I really like that, because, I mean, games are often kind of like they're out of the box, like you take them in there, here's a thing that somebody else made, you play with it, and there's a level of engagement, kind of interactivity, but like, you guys are like, here's like, make your own guy, design this squirrel's hat, like.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the reasons that we have an art style like this is to kind of encourage players where you can see how they were constructed, you can see how it was all put together, the way that the little tabs are showing how walls are glued onto the floor, or the way that things have slightly unpeeled. I think it makes it kind of quite an approachable world. It's a very fantastical world, but it's very realistically constructed, and it makes it kind of much more approachable.
Now, aside from like the visuals, which are clearly really nice, is there anything on the PS4 like the kind of it's a bigger box? Is there anything that it does that you wished you could have done on Vita that you kind of?
I mean, we've got a lot of extra effects with depth of field and things to make it feel like that sort of tiny little paper world inside of your TV. We've rewritten all of the lighting so that it's got really nice soft shadows. And we've also found that we can create much more epic scenes. So whereas, say, on Vita we had an area that was like a little harbour, for PS4 it's a whole stormy sea. You've got boats, and you've got a whole sea to fly around on, and a tiny little paper plane. Alex is currently battling with a whole bunch of scraps here.
These guys are jerks. The ones on stilts, the worst.
Something that was really important to us with Unfolded was to make sure that all of the mechanics that we added in are things that you can play with a lot more, and you can sort of establish your own way that you like to play the game. Whether you really like using the wind a lot, and you're using it to like swipe enemies off the cliff tops, or whether you're really into like the thrown forth features, where you pick up objects, throw them out of the game into the pad, and then swipe them back into the game.
Okay. Do you guys? I'm sorry. I love this. This is really cute. This is such a lovely game. How much like new content is there in terms of like for people who played the original version? Are there going to be just immediately noticeable kind of surprises for them?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of new locations. Some are like an entire new sort of setting. Some are smaller kind of additions to existing levels. I think anyone that played it on the Vita will have quite a surprise at just how different it is now. It is still the same overall story, but it's definitely it's being broadened and widened, has more sort of twists and turns, and more extra side things to do. One of the things that we've been adding is little characters that you have to carry and sort of help through the levels, and if you drop them or leave them, they'll run away and you can't then complete that section. So it's kind of almost like giving little moments of permadeath in a.
This is new right here, isn't it?
So this is where, as you move into a darker area, you can see we've got this mad feature on the DualShock 4 of having a light on the back. So we were like, well, surely that light should sort of project into the TV. So as you squeeze the triggers, it sort of squeezes the light out of the controller and then helps you guide the messenger. It affects scenery. If there were some enemies there, you can actually hypnotize them. They sort of get caught in the beam, and then you can drag them around or fling them off the side of a mountain.
Okay. I'm really curious. How do you guys play test this? Like, I mean, it's a game that really can work for all ages, but like, I can just do you like put a controller in the hands of some little kids? And,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
definitely. I mean, it's one of the challenges of making a game that is for a broad audience is to make sure that there's challenge there for the more hardcore player, but then it's very approachable for our younger audience. And something that we've been adding a lot of is kind of various ways of subtly hinting at how to use these powers, because obviously a lot of the stuff we're doing is not just like press X to complete game. It's like take this, tilt pad, throw thing in, swipe on it, send it back.
Physically play with the thing.
Yeah, it's like it's actually treating the controller more like a toy that is some kind of mystical toy that has come out of the game, and you're trying to slowly unlock all of its capabilities.
Well, that is really neat. When is this coming out?
It's going to be out on
September the 8th in the US and September 9th in Europe.
Excellent.
Very
And if
good.
people can't wait, it does exist on Vita, and it's really, really good. So go check it out. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to show this to us.
Thank you
Guys,
so
for all your
much.
E3 coverage, right here, IGN. Take it easy.